my body numb. Brittle teeth clench against my tongue, whispering to me, how are you, baby? My fingertips, they tremble. Pour another shot where my vodka shakes resemble the words you say to me. I think that's enough, baby. Shake it off right now. Don't give a fuck if you.
This is Madison with Antidote 41, and I am here with... Hi guys, I'm Sarelle.
I'm Dante, Juhkel,
Okay, so you are a singer-songwriter, and
producer, songwriter.
so you guys collaborate together on your music?
Yeah, so this EP that I just released in August, it's a 5-piece track. Dante produced 4 out of the 5 and killed it on the project.
No, it was dope. It was dope. Working with Elle, super talented vocalist, super amazing songwriter. It made the process a lot easier.
Starting from the beginning, what started you in your music journey? How old were you? What was your background?
Okay, yeah, so I was born and raised on Oahu, Hawaii, and I used to hum myself to sleep before I could talk. By the time I was 5, I wrote my first song. It was called Touch of Sass, which is funny because my initials are SAS, so I was really just telling people they needed a
cute.
touch of me. And then when I was around like 10 years old, my dad was on like a game show on like, the radio station and won the Kelly Clarkson Breakaway album.
Whoa.
And I learned that album front to back and made my whole cul-de-sac come to a show, like my own show. And I did the whole album and I was like, I'm meant to be a performer. That's kind of when I knew. And then just honestly put out my like first thing this year with the help of Dante.
I originally started on the East Coast, grew up in South Jersey, right outside Philadelphia. Started in church, doing church choir, and then I transitioned into producing right after high school when I went to college, and I've been doing it ever since.
So what genre would you consider your music?
This is actually so funny that you asked that because I took a music course about how important it was to really hone your genre and like figure out what it is. Essentially, they were like, you need to have one main genre, but then subgenres to really like hone your sound. So I would describe it as dark pop with alternative rock, like music underflares with vocal R&B touches.
Who are your like biggest influences when it comes to your music or that genre?
Well, the EP itself was really inspired by Melanie Martinez because I wrote it when I was in high school and I was listening a lot to her, like a lot of the creepy doll kind of vibe.
Yes.
But musically in general, Amy Winehouse, Queen, Fleetwood Mac, The Cranberries, a lot of 70s rock.
I guess for like creating the music, sonically, I pulled from a lot of different things. I pulled from a lot of electronic music, to be honest. Just kind of like a lot of deep house records, a lot of 90s influence when it came to alternative, like 90s grunge scene. And I come from hip hop, so I think I incorporated a lot of hip hop elements as well, but a lot of R&B, R&B in the way that, like Elle described, a lot of the vocal production, vocal process, we really lived in that soul R&B like pocket.
Yeah.
So how did y'all meet? Like, how did you guys start collaborating together?
It was actually a girl that I was in the iHeart Music or iHeart My Voice class with, was working with Dante and sent me his Instagram and I was like, bet. And then I just came and we worked on my first song, Vodka Shakes, together.
Yes.
And it was just like an instant click when it comes to the way we record together. I feel like he gets the best out of me and like he just knows how to tell me like how to make my voice sound the best for the record. And so I really like the dynamic that we have when we work together.
For sure. And like I was saying earlier, it's easy when you have such a talented, creative vocalist like Elle, right? Not even just like bigging her up because she's next to me. It's the truth. Off of that first session, it was like we've been working for years, but it was just like a perfect chemistry when we met. And after Vodka Shakes was the first track we worked on, and I was like, oh yeah, this is dope. She's fire.
Yeah.
Is there a specific audience you gear your music towards?
I would definitely say that my music is mainly shifted more towards, I would say like 18 to like
30-year-olds.
And I think a lot of it, like maybe kids that were like people that were bullied as kids, or people that have like just a different perspective in life.
I think it's for the alternative rock kids, the kids that were not necessarily like the popular kids, right? But like maybe hung out with the popular kids or went to those parties.
Yeah.
But were okay with showing in the corner and doing their thing.
The people that like Paramore.
Yeah. Straight up. Yeah.
What do you want your listeners to take away from your music?
Everything I write is just from an authentic place, and I want people to like feel that and to know that like they're not alone in whatever they're going through. So there's not like a specific thing that I want people to feel. I just want people to be able to feel and see her, like be heard and feel seen. And I think by doing what's authentically me, that will like just happen naturally.
So you mentioned that you began more of like a serious music journey this year, and you released your EP. What's the title?
It's called Down the Dark Forest.
Down the Dark Forest.
Inspired by
Listen.
Down the Rabbit Hole.
So can you tell me about like your creative process behind that, the songs, the lyrics, the meanings?
Yeah, so this project started all the way back when I was in high school. I think I was like maybe 16, 17 when I started writing it. I was really inspired by all of the weirdness in Hollywood and all like the culty aspects and just like all of the things that were like swept under the rug. So I decided I wanted to make a piece of art that kind of talked about that. So two of the songs on the EP are actually very much inspired by that, Missing Red Coat and Body Lies. I think a lot of people assume that every song that I write is about like a relationship or love or about like some sort of romantic connection, when in reality like none of the songs on my EP are about that at all.
I feel like the biggest misconception from the outside looking in, it's just bedroom pop, right? When it's so much more. Like I said, I've watched her put hours into the sessions that we were recording, her like blood, sweat, and tears. Like, and I know how cliche that sounds, but I really feel like the work that we did with this album, we kind of created our own lane and created our own sound, so it can't be categorized.
It's kind of about being in a dark spot in life and having the choice to either get better or to fall into that darkness. And so the EP talks a lot about that and finding that and trying to like find your way out of it.
For sure.
Which like in Vodka Shakes, it starts with being like, shake it off. I'm gonna do whatever I want essentially. And then the end is like, no, like this is your life, get it together. And
Right.
I think kind of that's a theme a lot in the EP, even with Missing Red Coat. It's that like a lot of the lyrics is, so it's all kind of starts bad, but there's always a light at the end of the tunnel kind of vibe.
So Vodka Shakes, how old were you when you wrote that?
That one is actually the only one on the EP that I wrote not in high school. I wrote that one right after my uncle passed away. It was inspired by the grief and like how I wanted to deal with it. I wanted to just drink every day, but I knew that wasn't healthy, so I decided to write a song about it instead. The first line in that is mind race empty, body numb, and that was how I was experiencing the grief. Was my mind was empty, but my body was numb. So yeah, and that song is one of my favorites too.
What do you think your biggest challenge has been so far with making music or in your career or overall?
Myself. There was a really long time that I fully let go of my dream because I was like, how impossible can it be to make it happen? And isn't it easier to just allow it to not happen than to like hope that it will and then it not? So I think that was the biggest hurdle that I got over. Was I went to this wellness festival last year, and they had this workshop that was talking all about your fears that are holding you back and like why they're holding you back. And mine was all about the fact that I knew I needed to do my music, but I was too scared to allow myself to have that dream again, because having it a second time is almost scarier than the first, because I already let it go. But I was like, nah bitch, get your shit together, you're gonna put your music out. And once I started, I haven't stopped, and it's been magical and it's been perfect and it's been everything I could have wished for. So
In the past, how have like performing in front of live audiences been for you?
it's my favorite part about making music. I'm a singer-songwriter, but I'm a performer first and foremost.
For sure.
I love being on stage. I've been performing since March of this year. I've done a show every month since then. A couple shows, sometimes in like twice a month. It's incredible. I love being on stage. It's like this rush. You can tell by the way I'm talking about it. I'm just like, but yeah, no, I love it. I love it.
For the both of you, if you could go back to like your younger selves just starting out in the music business, with knowing what you know now, is there a piece of advice you would give yourselves or anything that you'd be like, hey, like make sure this, or anything that you would tell your younger self?
Don't do it, run. Nah, if I'm being serious, I would tell my younger self, trust the process. Like, don't rush things and don't expect things to happen. Just let it happen.
I think I would just tell her to be patient with herself and to trust her spirit guides and know that like things happen for a reason. Things happen at the timeline they're supposed to happen. Everything's gonna work out the way it's supposed to, and it is. And it's just starting.
What is in the future works for you and your music?
We are
Any big plans coming up?
Yeah, we are actually working on my album. It's set to release sometime next year. It's gonna be called Shadows of the Night, which is a little homage to my EP because my song Body Lies has a lyric. But that song is really my breakup album, my grief album, all wrapped into one. It's a lot more on the rockier side, a lot more on the grungier side with some fun little R&B twists and turns. Honestly, this album is some of my favorite writing I've done ever. Like, I'm very, very happy with the writing in this album.
It's been coming together perfect. Like, it's just,
it gives me chills.
it's very cinematic. It's really in your face. It's like, it feels like the perfect sequel to Down the Dark Forest.
Yeah,
in my
it does.
opinion.
Wow.
It feels very much on the same lines of Hell in Their Eyes, and that taken up a notch, and that's what my album's gonna be.
How has music changed your life overall?
I would not be me without music. I think the only reason I'm mentally sound is because of music. I write some really dark music, and sometimes I show my friends and they're like, "Are you okay?" And
I live for it.
and I look at them, I'm like, "Yes, I'm okay because I wrote this. Like, this is my
Exactly.
outlet. My outlet is being able to write these horrendous, atrocious, like very maybe not the best, healthiest songs, so that I can be my best, healthiest person."
Right.
So, no, music is everything, always.
I live, breathe, sleep this shit all day. Like, I am obsessed with music. I like everything I do is music. My style, how I talk. I feel like I met my fiance through music. I wouldn't be out here in LA if it wasn't for music. Yeah, it's in my DNA at the end of the day.
It really is. Hey there, I'm Sarelle, and I'm here with Antidote 41.
My name is Dante Juhkel. I'm here with Antidote 41.